Welcome back to WebCafe AI, where we do daily artificial intelligence videos for your personal and business life. In today's video, we're going to take a user's suggestion here. As you see, we want to take the ability for uploading a spreadsheet and then grabbing all the data from that spreadsheet and automatically pushing it towards Shopify's front end for product listings. Now, more specifically in this context, as you see, we want to fill in all relevant variables when it comes to uploading this spreadsheet. So when we do the automation process, it has everything that is needed in order to create a Shopify listing. Now in this video, I'm gonna go ahead and start from start to finish. So I'm gonna show me building out the spreadsheet for the automation. So if you don't wanna see that, you can go ahead and skip to the Zapier automation part, but I thought it'd be pretty powerful to see how we build out a spreadsheet in ChatGPT for the purposes of this video. So let's go ahead and start off, jump into ChatGPT, and let's build out our spreadsheet we're gonna use for this automation. Before we dive in any further for that ChatGPT plugin here, we're gonna go ahead and grab the relevant variables we're gonna need for this spreadsheet. So we know we're gonna need a title, a product type, a vendor. We'll go ahead and create a product description here. We're gonna need a price, a image URL if possible, and then we're gonna need a published, and that should be it. That should be sufficient. So we're gonna need these columns when creating the spreadsheet. So it's gonna do that in ChatGPT. I'm only gonna do 3 rows here as we're gonna be pushing towards our marketplace, and I wouldn't wanna create like 20 of these different products here, but let's go ahead and proceed. All right, so as you see, we went ahead and grabbed all the relevant variables that we're gonna care about when pushing this towards automatically. So title, product type, vendor, product description, price, image URL, and is published. From here, we're gonna go ahead and say we are going to want to fill in the data for each of these columns. Let's go ahead and create, you know what, let's up it up to 10 products, 10 rows. We may need to structure this a little bit different. Let's go ahead and see what this first output will be. All right, so it went ahead and gave me sample data before it pushes this out to CSV. So I'm gonna go ahead and change a couple things here. First thing I wanna do is make sure all the product types are, actually we can leave it the same. Let me see, let's make the vendor the same. Let's say the vendor for all products will be test store. And then we're gonna go ahead and say for the product description, please input an example description for each product, max 1 sentence. And then for the image URL, just give a description of how the product looks. And the reason I'm doing that is because we're going to push that towards an OpenAI image generator, and we're going to use that for the underlying image for the product. Obviously, in this context, if you were to do this in reality, for that image URL, you'd want to input probably a Google Drive file URL. So whatever context that may be, we're going to go ahead and say just give a description of how the product looks. And then for the title, give an example real title. Let's go ahead and see what this looks like. All right, so as you see here, we got what we wanted here. So we got all the different titles, product types. We wanted the vendor to stay consistent, so we got test store. We got a product description here that's pretty short. Prices are all different. An image URL, just a description of the visual outlook. And then we got is published, yes or no. I like this because this is going to show you the capabilities of an automation flow where essentially you can indicate whether you want it to be pushed forward or not, the data underlying it for it. So we're going to go ahead and just say generate CSV here. So we're going to generate CSV. We're then going to grab this CSV and we're going to push it towards a Google Drive folder for Google Sheets. Purpose of this is so we can access the API calls within Google Sheets when we build out this flow. All right, so watch this. I click it, it doesn't work. So it seems like this plugin doesn't work here. So what I'm going to do though is I'm going to go ahead and reformat the data here found in this table. I'm going to grab it and let's try to use a different plugin here. Okay, so I finally found a plugin that went ahead and worked for this. I tried to use A+ Doc, did not work. Tried to use the other one, it did not work. A lot of these plugins seem to be having a lot of errors. I finally found one that works, literally just called CSV Creator. I went ahead and just said create CSV from this data, provided the data, click download, let's go to check it out. And as you see here, we got the data associated of what we're gonna be using today. So we got the title, product type, and so on. Let's go ahead and upload this to Google Sheets. Now, instead of uploading it, we might as well just copy and paste. I'm going to simply go right here, Command C, come over here, Command V. There we go. So we got the relevant data that we are worrying about today. I'm going to go ahead and rename this to auto product upload. Perfect. And I'm going to go ahead and let's just reformat this a little bit. All right, perfect. So we got the data that we created from ChatGPT. Obviously, you'd probably use live data here. If you wanted to grab real images rather than the OpenAI images you're about to see, you'd put in Google Drive links here that are accessible. And from here, we can go ahead and start building up the automation for the Shopify from CSV or Google Sheets to automatic upload. Let's go ahead and create a new Zapier. We're going to call it auto uploader products. From here, we're going to use a manual trigger due to the fact that we wouldn't want this getting sent off at any time. We want to, we got a new Google Sheets. We want to go ahead and manually upload or manually set off the automation task. So we're going to use a manual trigger of Basecamp, which is going to be new to do. We're going to continue. We're going to choose our account. We choose our project. Thus, we have a project that's called Autotasker that's used for this purpose. For any manual trigger, we use Basecamp as our manual trigger for any type of automation we're trying to run, where the discretion of when it runs is ours. The next step we're going to do here is going to be Google Sheets. We're going to do Google Sheets here, and we're going to be doing lookup spreadsheet rows, output as line items. I'm going to go ahead and choose our courses account here at WebCafe AI. We're going to hit continue here. And then let's go ahead and proceed. Let's go ahead and enter all the relevant variables that we care about here. So for our spreadsheet, we're going to do auto product upload. For our worksheet, it's going to be sheet 1. For our lookup column, this is going to be the column of whether we want to publish it or not. So we're going to say is published. And then for our lookup value is going to be yes or no. So for us, it's going to be yes. Essentially what this does is that this is going to look up this column here, and it's going to basically ask, okay, if it says yes, we're going to grab that data. If it says no, we are not going to grab that data. So this can be useful in certain contexts where some of these rows may not be fleshed out to the point of where it's ready to be automatically uploaded. For now, we're just going to go ahead and target the ones that we deemed are ready to be published. So from here, we're going to go ahead and add our next variable. It would be the row count, the number of rows to return here. In that spreadsheet, we had 11, so we're going to put 11 here, and we can go ahead and continue, and let's go ahead and test this action. All right, so as you see here, we got a return of 5 different rows. Come back here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that is correct. We have the right amount of data that's been provided here. So our next step here is we're going to create a loop. So we're going to do a loop because of the fact that since we're dealing with multiple rows and each row is going to have to create a product in Shopify, we're going to need to create a loop in order to go through all the rows and all the data associated with it. So I'm going to do create loop from line items. I'm going to continue here. And then we do all the relevant variable data that we found in that Excel sheet. So this is going to be all the information that is going to be wanting to be pushed for every single variable found in that Shopify. So we're going to go ahead and do title here. We're going to do add one. We're going to go ahead and do product type. We go ahead and make sure we grab the data here. So for title, we're going to go to lookup spreadsheet row here. And then as you see here, these are the titles. Just row column A. Then we're going to do product type. And then we're going to go ahead and just find our product type here, which is row column B. Let's go ahead and add another variable here. We're going to do product description. The reason we're going to skip vendor is, as you see here, all of these are the exact same. So when we do our creation of the Shopify product, we can just do test store. We don't need to make it a variable. Now in the context that maybe the vendor is different, this is where you would essentially add this to this Zapier step here, but we don't need to in this context. We're going to do product description, grab that row. I'm not sure why it keeps glitching like that. It's kind of annoying. We're going to do column D. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and do price. Price here, which is going to be column E. And then we'll do one more, which is going to be the image URL. Put that there. So in this context, we are doing OpenAI images. In your context, this would be actual URLs probably. So from here, we have all the relevant information that we want to push and make sure that it goes through every single time when uploading a product. So this sets the amount of loops that it can do. So in this context, it'd be 500 rows. From here, we're going to do continue, and we're going to test this action. And there you go. So I went ahead and grabbed loop iteration 1 and then all the relevant information within that loop that it found for each one of those columns. And then it kind of proceeds from there. So from here, we're going to go ahead and start building out the flow that's going to automatically upload products onto our Shopify. So the first thing I want to do here is I'm going to go ahead and set up the DALL-E prompt here, which is going to do generate image. Now, obviously, we could format this a lot better, but through this tutorial, you basically figured out how to automatically create a ton of DALL-E images if you choose to do so for the underlying data you provide. So what we're going to do in this context is always make sure you create loop from item. We're not doing it from here. And then essentially what we're going to be grabbing here, is we're going to be looking for image URL. We're not going to want it where essentially the preview loop value images gives all the data associated with your rows. You're going to want to grab it specifically from just the singular URL here. Just want to go ahead and proceed here. I mean, this is not even optimized for a DALL-E prompt, so I doubt this is going to look great, but for now we can go ahead and test this action. Okay, not bad. I mean, these are gadgets and this is, what it came up with. Not bad. So we can go ahead and proceed with this. All right, so the next block here we're going to do is just going to be for the product description. Now, one thing I want to point out is if you notice the data we're grabbing here, there is certain variables that we may want to add more information for using AI. So for example, that's why we kind of did the image URL here. For price, we can keep consistent. Product type, we can keep consistent. Title, we can keep consistent. But maybe for the product description, we want a little bit more information based off contextual value. And then maybe for other stuff, maybe for the title you wanted to add some type of parameter that made it more optimized for XYZ, like more an SEO optimized title, right? For now, we're just going to do product description and add a little bit of AI to it. We're going to choose our ChatGPT account here and continue here. And then let's go ahead and enter some variables here. I'm gonna up my model to GPT-4. This can still be done with 3.5. It's just gonna be a little bit harder for the prompt structuring. And then for the memory key, we can go ahead and say prod out auto. This is a random string of 32 characters. From here, let's go ahead and provide as much information as possible. So we're gonna say based on this product information, we need an optimized product description. We're going to say product title, product price, and that's kind of all we have. Well, actually, we can do honestly the product description that we have currently. So we can do that and do semicolon, and then let's go ahead and enter the data for all these relevant information. When using ChatGPT blocks, it's always a good idea to do parentheses in order to maintain consistent data here. Let's go ahead and find what we're looking for. So we got title here. Let's go ahead and input the price. Actually, we're just going to do type. Price is not too relevant when it comes to description. So we do product type here. Now right there. Let's go ahead and put it right there. And the product description is that one sentence that we currently have. So we're going to basically base off our new output here on the input that we got from that Excel sheet, or Google Sheets. We're going to say generate a product description, use bullet points and HTML. This could probably be a lot more advanced, but for the purposes of this tutorial, you've got a really good understanding now of how to run multiple OpenAI prompts, multiple ChatGPT prompts when uploading a product. We can link a database to this. We can link a lot of other information to this to really proctor it to the exact way you'd want a product description to look like on your Shopify store or any type of e-commerce store at that point. But for now, you have an understanding of essentially how fundamental the loop block is in this context. So let's go ahead and see what the output will look like here. Here we go. All right, perfect. So we got our description and we got bullet points here, and this is going to be an issue though. It says please inquiring price, so we don't want any of that. So let's go ahead and just do a little bit more formatting here. New parameter, generate just a paragraph and four bullet points. No text before or after. I'm going to go ahead and continue here. Let's go ahead and retest this action. Add a 1 to the memory key. Let's refresh it. Start on a clean slate. Send it. If I can hit retest action. Perfect. This is what we want here. So we just wanted one paragraph, and then we want 4 bullet points. Obviously, you'd give all the context you would want in your when you're uploading this, your Excel sheet, right? From here, though, we can go ahead and do a Shopify method here. So we're going to do Shopify, and we're going to go ahead and do an event of create a product. And we're going to continue here, choose your Shopify store. Then we're going to go ahead and enter all the relevant information. So first off, for the title here, we're going to do looper. I'm going to just type in title, so we can find the exact one. So this is going to be the title here. For the product type, I'm just going to type in type, and as you see here, it's product type here. For the vendor, since it was consistent with all the Excel sheet, we're going to go ahead and just put in the vendor here as test store like we had before, and that rhymed on accident. For product description, we're going to go ahead and grab this one. So we're going to go ahead and do this right here, and actually, make sure I have the right one. Oh, I guess they call it reply now, so that's different. For tags, you could add tags to the Excel sheet if you wanted to or not. Published at price, that is what we care about here. So we're going to go ahead and add price. There we go, 10. And then image URL is going to be this OpenAI image URL. And then for here, published. So this is going to be either true or false. So in this context, because we already vetted it with that one column as you see here, we can automatically say, okay, well, this is going to be published anyways because we vetted the Excel sheet anyways. So this should be good here. I'm going to continue, and I'm actually going to skip this action because we're going to do this live. So we're going to go ahead and go to Basecamp. We're going to publish this. We're going to automatically generate 5 different product listings using this method. All right, so we jumped over to Basecamp. Here is our manual trigger. Let's make sure we are green lighted. We are green lighted. Let's go ahead and proceed. So essentially what's going to happen right now is when this flow occurs, it's going to search this Google Sheets here. It's going to identify whether to grab the data or not. If it says yes, it's going to grab the data. From there, once it grabs the data, it's going to generate an image according to every single one of the relevant data points in image URL. Then it's going to proceed to create a product description based off the relevant data found for each one of those lines. And then it's going to push it forward as a Shopify product. We are green lighted. Let's go ahead and say proceed. So in this context, this could be any words. You could have a filter here in theory, but for now, proceed and let's see it live. See if it's working here. Let's go over to history. All right, it's proceeding. As you see here, it is playing. Perfect. So as you see here, we have all of the runs are successful. And as you'll notice, whatever your run is, every single run obviously will be associated with task. So keep that in mind. Jump over to our Web Cafe marketplace here. I'm going to go ahead and reload this real quick. And let's see, there we go. So we got the individual products made. Let me go ahead and filter this real quick. So I went ahead and filtered by vendor, which would be test store. And there we go. We got our 5 different products here. So if I go ahead and click into one, we have our HTML-based product description. We have the title here, and we have an image that was created based off the image URL. We have the associated price. One thing that we didn't mess with variable wise was the stocks. We could have added, a SKU. We could have added SKU. We could have added a lot of other information, but as you see, it works. I'm going to go ahead and delete all those due to the fact that we do not sell gadgets on Web Cafe AI Marketplace. We do sell pre-built automation solutions. So if you're interested in learning more about that, go ahead and check that out in the description down below. I'm going to delete those for now. As always, you'll be able to find the automation we just created here in the description down below. Now, what I'll point out is that a manual trigger can be in multiple things. We just use our CRM here as our manual trigger. Manual triggers essentially play around with it. This could really be anything. For example, a new manual trigger could be in a Google Sheet. When this row has a new piece of data added into it, it shoots off the entire flow. So don't think it just has to be Basecamp. We just use that here personally at Web Cafe AI. But as you saw at the beginning of this tutorial, we are listening and we are watching our comments. And this was a suggestion from one of our subscribers here at Web Cafe AI. I thought it was super cool. I thought the idea of essentially creating a loop on an Excel sheet for data in this specific context would be kind of like a very useful skill to learn and just kind of a cool idea overall. So knowing this, let me know down in the comments down below if there's a specific flow that you would want created or you thought would be a cool idea when it comes to lowering manual labor. In that context, if you feel like you learned something, make sure to like the video. It's completely free and it helps us here at Web Cafe AI. If you want to learn more about AI and automation and how to leverage that for your personal or business life, check out the playlist at the end of this video as we're diving into all 5,000 apps on Zapier store. But honestly, let's go ahead and switch it up here. we're actually going to link our AI in e-commerce playlist on this specific video due to the fact that it does have to do with Shopify, and this is a very niche thing for e-commerce. So in reality, actually, we're going to go ahead and link our e-commerce playlist at the end of this video. But if you are interested in learning about other applications of AI automation, we do have another playlist on this channel called Zapier for AI. You can go ahead and check that out as well. Make sure to subscribe for daily artificial content. But without further ado, I'll see you in the next video.
Thanks for tuning in. And yes, surprise, I'm an AI avatar. Make sure to explore more here at Web Cafe, where we demystify AI for your personal and business life. Until next time.